tutorial, and the instructions are also here in Google Classroom. You go to dafont.com. I want you to download these two, Evogria and Bebas Neue. So check the spelling. When you go to dafont.com, you can just type in Evogria here and click search, and you'll find the font. After you download it, go back to Google Classroom and Bebas Neue. I might actually just highlight this and copy and paste it because it should be all done. So paste, Command C and Command V. Command C is copy, Command V is paste. V is in Victor. Okay, so I've downloaded both these fonts. So now when I go to my downloads folder, I want to double click Evogria. It will give me a folder with the fonts. The TXT document is like a Word doc. You don't need that. It's the OTF file. I'm going to double click that. And you should get this font preview and click install. And then I'm going to go to the other one. This is the italic one. Double click that because you are going to use both of these later, and install. And then the Bebas, double click. You'll get a folder. Click on the arrow. And I can probably select both of these by clicking and dragging, TTF and OTF. Double click these. I don't really know the difference between the two, but we're just going to grab them both anyway. Maybe one is, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. Just say okay. All right, so that should be installed. Let me just double click one just to confirm. Replace. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. It should, let me just do one more time. Sorry. I'm going to skip that. Okay, so they are installed. Now, if I go back here, it's saying to download the PSD file attached. That is here. So when you click on this, you want to click on these three buttons for more actions. Open this in a new window. Once I open in a new window, I can go back to that 3 button, and then you'll see the downloads button. So click download, which I've already done, so I have it twice, no big deal. Go back to the instructions. I'm going to close this up. Go back to my instructions and create a new Illustrator document, letter size 8.5 by 11. We've done this already twice. So I go to Illustrator, letter size, and here I am. So first thing I'm going to do is save this to my computer, to my desktop. Illustrator file is the format, and call this 50 Things I Love. .ai, always keep the .ai, save. Okay. So if I want to make sure, I don't know what that is, if I want to make sure that this document is saved on my desktop, I can hide everything, and here is my Illustrator document. So let's go back. Sorry, there's my family. Okay, so Illustrator, this is telling me to place the PSD file in the document and scale it to size. So what I'm going to do is go to my Illustrator document, File, Place, or this is telling me key command, Shift Command P. This arrow here is the Shift key and the Command key. So I'm going to click on that and go to my downloads because that's where I downloaded it. Or maybe not, documents. Where'd it go? I just had it. I thought it was in my downloads. Oh, here it is, 50 Things I Love. And I have it twice. I'm just going to click on one of these and say place. Now, right now, I haven't clicked anything. If I just click it, it actually is the correct size. But sometimes you might be placing an image like super big and it'll like blow up on your screen and you're like, what did I do? How do I fix that? The easiest way is to click and drag to fit the size of your document. Sorry if you hear snoring, that's my dog. Okay, so now under your properties or on the right here, you should have these folders. If you don't, you should be able to go up to Window and scroll down to, is it Window or View? I'm sorry. You can go to View or Window and see your layers, but I don't see it in here. Maybe I'm just not going down enough, sorry. You can see my layers is already checked, which means it's open. I see it here, but if you don't see it, go to Window and Layers and open that box. So I'm in Layers. Right now you see this X. That means it's selected. That's what that blue dot means. So right now this artwork is on this layer. So if I click on, let me see if I can move this a little bit. These dots or these dashes over here, I want to make a new layer. And I'm going to call this text because that's where I'm going to put my text in, and I'm going to say okay. So if I hide this, there's nothing on that layer right now. If I hide this, that's where my artwork is. I want to lock this layer so that I'm not moving this as I'm typing. So right next to the eye, which is the visibility to the right toggle, I'm going to click. And now I can't move that. I'm clicking and dragging and nothing's happening. So if I want to work on a layer, I want to make sure the text layer is highlighted, it's not locked. And using the type tool, what I don't want you to do, do not click and drag, because that's just going to create a text box. I'm going to go back up to the arrow tool and delete that. The type tool, I just want to click, and that will give me automatic lorem ipsum. This popped up, that's new. I don't know why, but I do want to change this so all of my type is either the Beboss font, which I'll select, or the Evogria. Okay, so one thing I like to do between the T and the arrow, if I hover over it, that is, let me just hover so you can see. See the letter V here? That means if I just hit the letter V on my keyboard, it will toggle between the arrow and the type tool. So the type tool is the letter T, and the arrow tool is the letter V. These are key commands that are important because it will make you work faster and easier. So right now I'm on the V tool, which means I can select and move this. But if I want to change the type, because right now it's Greek, which is lorem ipsum, I'm going to move that. Let me zoom in a little bit and I'll teach you these key commands in a minute. So if I want to move this, I want the arrow tool, but if I want to type, I want the type tool. So the easiest thing is to hit the letter V, it just goes to the arrow. To hit the letter T, because I want to type, it goes to my type tool. Then I can select and highlight and say dance, because I love to dance. Now, what I want you to do is fill this space. So there's many different ways I can do this. I can go over to character and arrow up, or I can distort it and just click on that edge and fill it in. Make sure it fits in that space, and I'm just moving this around to fit. Now, some of these, obviously, when I get down to here, I'm going to go, the letter T is the type tool, and I'm going to write down, what was one of the things I said? Chocolate. I love dark chocolate, so I'll be specific so it's a little bit longer. Dark chocolate. V. Oops, nope. See, now I'm in the type tool. If I hit V, it's just going to type it. So what I want to do is hold the command key down. That's what I'm doing there. If I hold the command key down, then I can click, which deselects my type. Now I'm still in the type tool, but that just gives me an opportunity to create a new text line. So what I'm going to do is now hit the letter V, and now I can click. But I want to fill up this rectangle. First, I'm going to change it to Evogria just to change it up a little bit. And then the rotate tool. Here's the rotate tool. And notice it's the letter R. So while this is selected, I hit R for the rotate tool. This is my hinge point. So if I click and drag, it's going to hinge around that point right there. So I'm going to go directly, what is that, 90 degrees, and then move that to fit. Well, that fits perfect. I don't have to distort it at all. But if you did, I can click and drag it to stretch it to fit into there. So what you're going to do is practice playing with changing the font styles between those three. When I say three, I can copy and paste. Let's say I'm going to put dance here and change this to dogs because I love dogs. And maybe here I'm going to go back to the Evogria italic. And now that's too big for that box. I'm going to click and drag it to fit there. But I want you to play with color by double clicking there. So I can change the color here. Okay. But this needs to be selected for me to change it. I actually like to use the fill button over here because it gives me a palette. So play with color, play with fonts, and play with the rotation and distortion tool. Obviously, this is more than the 5 things you used in the tessellations, but I want you to fill this up so that you're practicing Illustrator, as well as we're going to be using this for our poster project coming up. So have fun, and make sure always save, save, save. Once it's saved to your desktop, you can just update and save. That's it.